y'all? It's Lee.
I'm Jordan.
And this is the Mind Your Business podcast. Join us weekly to learn how to mind your business.
Or at the very least, be able to tell people how to mind theirs, honey.
Drop the beat.
Boom.
Mind it, hope. 3, 2, 1.
I hate it here.
Yeah.
That's the beginning statement. I hate it here. That may be the name of the episode. Who knows?
Let me just give a disclaimer really quick.
Ooh, I like those.
So I got my eyebrows touched up last Monday, not thinking it's like a 2-week process. So if you can see my eyebrows and they looking a little, they're peeling. Okay,
Give me some glasses back on.
Give me some grace. I'll be fly next week. But yeah.
Cute.
But yeah, life is just life, and y'all, I know they probably thinking they finna leave us again because the last time they said that, we didn't see them for a year and a half.
But we were consistent. We pushed through. Okay.
We were.
All right, because this is a new level of professionalism that we are exhibiting in 2023.
That part.
Boom.
But y'all, life is hard. I mean, I know anybody who's probably living and working knows this, but life just, I don't know what be going on. I don't want to work.
I started to blame it on the stars because, somebody had told me that there's an eclipse coming. And so I was like, okay, well.
Ooh, what kind of eclipse?
Never
mind.
I don't know. I just was like, okay, the eclipse. And they was like, you know how that affects your mood? I was like, do I? And then somebody met Mercury or something is going into retrograde. So I was like, maybe it's that. But also it could just be people in. And then I'd be having to deal with the people in. And then I'd just be confused.
I think as a millennial, slightly older millennial, I think it's just difficult. I think living in this life and being exposed to so many things and, having front row access to every news story, front row access to everybody's lives, everything that's going on. I think it just makes for a long day. I think it makes it difficult. And I know for me, the last 2 weeks, I've just been like, I'm going to quit my job. But I ain't got no job lined up, so I guess I'm not going to quit. But, I'm just like, I want to quit my job. I just want to go away for a little bit. I need a vacation. I just be feeling kind of over it.
And it's kind of like a forced thing. I didn't ask for this. I know this is what it means to exist in society, but I ain't signed up for this. I ain't signed up for 40 hours a week.
I'm telling you. It don't make sense to me. And this isn't in any way to sound like we're suicidal. That's not where this is coming from. But I think I think also we're in our 30s, and I think this is kind of that, I don't want to say like midlife crisis.
I literally said, am I having a midlife crisis this week?
Oh, you said it?
Yes.
Oh, well, maybe that is what it is for
I was
you.
like, am I having a midlife crisis? But I also think it's a thing of, Jordan, what do you want? You spend so much time, counseling others, telling them to focus in on what they want, what they need out of life, and how to give themselves what they need. Is this now time for me to do that? I've started my business. Good. What's next? Is it parenting? Is it more therapy? Is it supervision or whatever? Because whatever the case may be, I just want to do a little razzle dazzle of each. I don't want to spend 40 hours or feel obligated. That's the point. Obligated to do a 40-hour work week just to live a life that's decent. We ain't even talking rich here. We ain't talking millions of dollars.
Right. And I think that's the thing. I think if you don't know, we're both therapists. And I think that as rewarding as therapy is, it is very draining. It is very draining. There's a lot of compassion fatigue that we talk about within the industry. Like you're constantly listening to people's sadness, grief, loss, lack of mental status, you
Mm.
know, and you go through that every single day because we really don't get to talk about happy things with people. We talk about maybe their wins in the week,
True. True.
what was a good moment for them in the week, but they don't come to us happy and we're working in happiness. We're working in sadness. And I think
Mm.
that it starts to take a toll on you. And so it's like, I love therapy. How can I make therapy work for me?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, doing this for the next 40 years, listening to depression and grief, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't have the time to figure it out either because I have to
I
still
got
work for my 40.
to work.
So,
And so I will say, I feel like I found somewhat of a balance in therapy to where there's not so much doom and gloom,
mhm.
but finding balance in one area of your life then begs to the question, what's happening in the other areas of your life, and do you have balance there? And
Right.
so nothing's 100%. We're always cycling through seasons. It just so happens I'm like, oh yeah, we can chill on this side, but
Mhm.
now my relationships are all over the place, and I'm having to reset and reestablish boundaries. I'm having to talk about my emotions. I'm having
Yeah.
to advocate for my health. I'm having to say, nope, you had me wrong right here, and I didn't used to say it, but now I say it now, and so that has been my week. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I just did not even have it in me because, usually I'm up in the morning, I'm journaling, I write what I'm grateful for, and,
Right.
I do my meditation, I listen to my music, I do my thing. I didn't even have the energy to do that. I just laid in bed and was just like, well, such is life. Uh,
Right.
because I just didn't have it to give. Even with coming in today, I was just like, I need to see Lee. Like, besides the podcast, we're committed. We are in it to win. Yeah, yeah. But more so, I need to see Lee. Like, I need to get out. I need to talk. I
Mhm.
need a just moment to breathe and
Right.
say, girl, why is life doing me like this? What did I do?
That part. I understand, friend. I understand. We went to a birthday dinner last night and it was wonderful. Happy
Ooh,
birthday, Vashni. Today's her birthday.
happy birthday, Vash.
But we went to a birthday dinner. We went out in Dallas, so that required us to like, put on clothes
Mhm.
and, actually like do your hair and do all these things that I hadn't been doing. I put on clothes to go to work, but it's the same clothes. It's the same 7 outfits,
Which is fine.
which is absolutely
It's
fine.
actually very
But,
appropriate.
you just kind of get caught in the day-to-day monotony of,
Hmm.
okay, well, I'm not going to do anything to myself because I'm just going to work. I'm just doing my daily. Um, and I even tried to tell myself, like, like this week we're going to be on time for work. And I was. I was on
Hmm.
time for work every single day or almost on time, something like that. And I still was just like, I'm not fulfilled. I thought maybe getting on to work on time, I would have
Hmm.
more time in my day after, and then I could do, I don't know, something.
Right.
And
Right.
it's just like, nope. Went out last night. It was fun. And
Mhm.
I realized, like, I think maybe that's what I'm missing too.
Okay.
That friend
More
time.
social stuff. Yeah.
Because that is one thing, like, with getting married and especially being like in your 30s, your spouse is your main, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine for me. I enjoy spending time with Joy. I love being with her. But I think that with her being so busy, me being busy, we just get stuck in the house all the time.
Mm-hmm. By
Eh,
the time we actually have time to spend with each other, it's in those down times
Right.
because we're running the rest of the time.
Right. And then it's like I would love to make plans, but making plans on Monday, then Friday comes and I don't necessarily feel those plans anymore. And it's not out of not wanting to spend time with other people. It's just be like, oh, when I made these plans, I hadn't had my week yet.
Mm-hmm. I
And
didn't know
so,
that life was going to life this hard.
yeah. And so I think the the word for the day is what is my career really going to look like for me?
Mm-hmm.
I think for most therapists we come in and we have this like vision of like what therapist is going to look like and I think that it's like that within every profession whether you're a doctor, you're a
Mm-hmm.
police officer and I think
Mm-hmm.
once you actually get into it and start doing it you're like you find the faults in your profession.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, that doesn't really work for me anymore. What I thought I wanted to do doesn't really work for me. So how can I make what I love to do work for me?
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, I think as a profession and as a society, as a culture, we are moving towards the idea that you can choose the life that you want. If you don't want to stay in an apartment or a house, you can rent an RV, you can redo a van, you could even make they have nice buses. Like there's so many various things, but now you run into the thing of how do I even do that?
Right.
Nobody gave me the book about it. Nobody gave me the rules. Like, yeah, I don't want to be confined to one space. I do want to travel and spend my
Mhm.
life, learning about different cultures. But now, how do I do that?
Right.
And we just don't have the tools. And so that's the part of because I have this conversation with quite a few of my clients all the time. What does it mean for you to live the life that you want, not the life that you feel that you've been forced into?
Right.
Great question. But then once we be like, okay, well, I want to lay in the field all day by
Basking in the sun.
by by the lake, and do some fishing. I'm just kind of like, okay. So we do live in a society where we have to make money some sort of way.
Mhm.
How do you do that? And it leads from one question to another because creating the life you want is just not as easy as it sounds.
Right, and I also think that social media plays a big role in it.
Oh, it
Social
does.
media plays a huge
It
role, and I'm
does.
guilty. I'm guilty,
Same.
and I'm very cognizant of how social media kinda plays on the brain,
Mhm.
but I still kinda get into these holes because I love me a good TikTok. I love me a good YouTube while I'm typing my notes at work, like, "Oh, let me watch so and so clean their house," for
Mhm.
whatever reason. And then you kinda get into the, "Oh my god, their house is so pretty. Oh my god, it's so," they have everything that they want. All she does is come on here and talk to y'all, like, why it's that easy? I wanna be young and traveling and doing all these
Yes.
things, and it's just kind of like, "Hmm."
And how do y'all do that without feeling trapped?
Right,
Like, oh yeah, okay, the luxury car, but the luxury car would come with a big price tag.
right,
So you sure gonna put in the 40 hours.
right.
So
And that's always my thing. It's like, I think social media shows us that there are so many different types of things that you can do. Because you get on there and people say that they do, I don't know, they go catch butterflies for a living. You be like, oh wow, that's a thing you can do. And that's like me being like super dramatic. But
Mhm.
like you see all these different career paths. People do these things, people do these things. And I think that we're here in Dallas. Like it's a pretty big city
Yeah.
with pretty big opportunity. But then it's just kind of like, hmm.
And where do you get the energy to do these multiple streams?
Of income that everybody tells you that you need to survive, and it is very true. You do need multiple streams, but it's like, where are y'all? Is it vitamin B12? Is that how you getting the energy? Like, let me know. How do you get the energy? Where are you pulling this from? But I
Mhm.
also think one of the things is a lot of these people on TikTok are young.
Mm.
You're
Mhm.
20, 21, 22. When I was 20, 21, 22, I had a lot of energy too. Give me somebody that's 35, see where they're at with it because I don't
Barely
have
made it
it.
to work. Left early at 2.
Okay.
Came home, was supposed to clean up, ended up cleaning up behind the dogs, taking them out, feeding them. Don't add a kid and a spouse.
Okay. So, I don't know. I think I really want to, with me coming up in this season of, I'm really prepping to make my exit
Mhm.
from, like forensic therapy and that whole world. I think it's really, what do I need to do to live the kind of life I want to live? And that's not even being extravagant, just, I want to go on vacation
Mhm.
when I want to go. And that's not saying like, oh, I'm going to Maldives and oh, I'm going over
Right.
here to
Right.
Timbuktu, but
It may be a
just
little staycation.
like a little staycation where I can just say, "Hey, I'm not gonna work today. We're gonna go do this," or "Hey, let's fly to Vegas. Hey, let's fly to LA." Just whatever that may look like.
Mhm.
Just something to make me happy.
Mhm.
Because just this working and paying bills, I ain't signed up for that.
Okay. So, we talking balance. What does it is can you have balance in all areas? Can you have
No.
it all? Is it even realistic to be like oh yeah, once I get to this point, I'll be able to go wherever and life will be peaceful, balanced, etc.
No, I don't think because I mean, the factors in our life are still kind of independent. So like your friends per se, they're still their own people. So you
And got
can't
yeah.
you can't balance them. You can only balance yourself in how you interact with them. But they still may have stuff going. Your spouse may have stuff going.
Mm.
Your health may have stuff going. But I do think that you can be severely unbalanced.
Okay.
I think that you can be not controlling what you need to control. And so I don't think that there will ever just be a place where nothing's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that things could be better.
Okay.
They could be better controlled. And so that's where I want to get to better control.
Okay. So is there a process to this? Because I know mine usually starts with a visualization. Okay, well, all right, friend. You say you upset. What you upset about? Like visualize whatever
Mhm.
life you want. Okay, this is the end goal. Do A, B, C, D, and E. But after that, that'd be like, what next?
I don't know, I think what for me, I'm going to start putting stuff on paper.
Okay.
I keep a lot of things like in my brain and just kind of letting them swirl up there, but I think that I actually would do good with like writing out a 5-year goal.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
like maybe starting with a 1 year, but then also like what does 5 years from now look like?
Mm-hmm.
What are my goals? What am I actually wanting to do so that I can actually see them on paper instead of just kind of like
Yeah.
think about it when I have time, come back to the thought a week later, that kind of thing. I want to really be intentional. And I guess maybe that's what it is, being intentional and kind of saying, what do I want? What does happiness look like for me? And then writing that down and how do I achieve that?
Okay.
Is this a realistic goal? Because I think that sometimes things may not be like, oh, I want $60 million by next week. Well, girl, you can want that all you want. But I think I just need to be more intentional. So I
Okay.
think that's my goal. That's the word of the week, y'all. Intention.
Intention. Okay.
So we'll see.
So, do you feel a little better after the conversation?
No, but I
No.
mean, well, I'm not going to say no. I mean, it's just kind of like,
Mm.
guess I'll get to that this week
Yeah.
in between work.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And so I can actually say like my days are pretty intentional. Like I start off pretty good on that side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now that I've had life changes, I'm getting older and I'm looking more to what life looks like. I'm learning more about life and what it looks like to live in different countries. Not that I'm moving, but
But
you
I've been
just
thinking about it.
you hear about it and you wonder about it and it's cheaper and it's sometimes it's better for minorities to be in a different place,
Mm-hmm.
different things like that. I'm like, okay, I'm getting all of this new information. What do I do with it? Do I say, okay, well, now I'm going for that life, or do I stay with this one because this is what at one point was the dream?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think always making sure that you have a check in with yourself.
Yeah.
It ain't got to be every morning. It could be however, whatever works for you. But you do need to ask yourself, am I happy? What will make me happy?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get there?
Yeah. That's really important. Me and Joy had a conversation about that. And I was talking about like constant reassessment of self.
Mm.
And we were talking about like within our relationship and I was saying, like I'm constantly kind of like reassessing like how could I be a better wife?
Mm-hmm.
How can I be a better wife? Looking back on like our week, like, oh, I probably could have done better there.
Mm-hmm.
What does doing better look like?
Right.
And so I think you have to apply that to the big scale. How can I be a better person? How can I be a better therapist? How can I be more present in my social circle? Like all of these things. And it's like constant. Like you said, it doesn't have to be every day because that's how you're going to get anxiety.
Mm.
But, I think maybe a weekly check-in is good. Like, how did I feel this week? What could have been better? What were my strengths? What were my weaknesses? And do that from week to week to week and see how you feel. So,
Yeah. I'm starting to tell everybody to treat yourself like a toddler. Literally. If you're tired, give yourself a
oh,
nap.
okay. Yeah.
If you're hungry, feed yourself. If you need a good time, just some fun, give yourself a play date.
Mm-hmm.
Plan out your days. Plan out what is going to make you happy, the most settled, grounded self. Now, no, you're not always going to be able to be in a peaceful state. That's unrealistic. But always keep yourself in mind and be asking yourself, what do I need? What do I want?
Mhm.
Because when you're 2 or 3, there's somebody giving you what you need and you want, and you're like, "Oh, okay, life is good."
Yeah,
Well,
that's pretty cool.
if you give yourself what you need and want, eventually, you'll be like, it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Life is life, and it's cool because I'm where I want to be."
I like that.
Mm,
I'm gonna start using that. I
yeah.
like that.
Take care of yourself. Give yourself what you need.
Hmm.
Schedule. We do really well with schedules, even though we hate them. Open up some time. It doesn't have to be 5 o'clock I'm doing this, 6 o'clock I'm doing this, but say from 6 to 8, that's my time to take a bath, shower, read a book. May only be 2 pages, but that's what I needed today.
Right.
That's what I
That's
needed.
what I needed to do for myself today to show up for me. I like
Show
that.
up for
I'm
me.
gonna start using that.
So I'm coddling myself, honey.
You have to, cause ain't nobody else
I'm
gonna do
liking
it.
sweatpants, big
Mhm.
loose shirts, no dangly earrings from my ear. Cause sometimes I feel it, other times I be like, oh, it's just too much. It's just too
It's just it's on my
overstimulated.
neck. It's on
Yeah,
my neck, honey.
you know.
Yeah. Do what you need to do for
Do it.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Y'all just witnessed me and Jordan's therapy session for ourselves, okay? Because that's what that was.
That's what it was.
We
That's
didn't have
what it
time
was.
to talk about it walking in, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna talk about it today because I feel like a lot of people are feeling this. We're not
Mm-hmm.
alone in these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, definitely being in your 30s. This is like a constant thought of just what now?
And it's really a direct correlation, not causation. Correlation between
Mm-hmm.
where we are as a society.
Mm-hmm.
The gap in wealth is getting wider and wider in some instances. The job loss and unemployment rates are pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
There's a decision for people to make as far as, do I want to go in to the office now that I know that this freedom exists and I can work from
Right.
home in this capacity? And oh, if we could do the job here, then is it really necessary that I go? Like, there's so many things that's happening on the outside that's causing us to ask these questions, where our parents and their parents' life was pretty routine.
Yeah. You didn't have all these choices. That's how my mom is when I tell her, I took a mental health day or I'm leaving work early. I'm just not feeling it. She's like, And I'd be like, well,
Oh.
what? But she just doesn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
She just doesn't understand. She did her time in the military, retired out, did her time at the police department, retired out, and she showed up every day at work because they didn't have a mental health day. You had this set amount or whatever. This is all you had. So I think for me to just be like, I'm not feeling it today. She's just like, girl, what? She'd be wanting to call me weak, but she ain't gonna say that. But she's just like, my mind does not wrap around that. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely a luxury our parents didn't have. But I think, like we said before on the last episode, of being caught in between what used to be and what's going to be is a really weird place. And I think we're in the what will we be stage. So, yeah, I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, earlier in the week, you sent me a news story about, I get to line. Hold on, let me see what state it is. It's in Missouri.
And I don't be remembering what I be sending. It was a
I know, friend.
senator.
It was a senator with the last name Moon.
Oh, that's kind of cute. But he was not. Let me be very clear.
Okay, so yes, Missouri State Senator Mike Moon defends supporting 12-year-olds' right to legally marry. And friend, when you sent me that, it just really blew me. Like, it blew my mind. And I think partly because I care about what happens to children. And I think that there's a lot of abuse, whether physical, neglect, sexual, whatever. There's just a lot of abuse that's inflicted upon children. And, people turn a blind eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it kills me how, like, y'all were just tripping about, quote unquote, drag queens performing in front of children, which isn't even a thing. Not even a thing. I ain't never seen no children at no drag show, because if they were there, I would leave. Because why are you here? And you put all of this emphasis into that, like that's the predator.
Mm-hmm.
that too sexualizing your children. And not to say that there's no predator drag queens, there's predator everybody.
Mhm.
But, you make it like that's who we need to be scared of, when actuality, it's your senator right there talking about 12-year-olds need to get married.
I just didn't know that was a thing still happening. I never imagined that anyone was thinking, "Oh yeah, this is something that I would allow. This is fine. They're
Mhm.
they're thriving in this life. They're actually doing way better." I just didn't know. I was just like, "Excuse me? What? I've never heard of I didn't think anyone in this century, in this age would agree to that."
Well, apparently somebody commented. So I posted that when you sent it to me. I posted it on Facebook, but I guess maybe one of my Facebook friends just saw it this morning, and she was like, she put like a screenshot from a article, and it says in most U.S. states, the minimum age for minors that have parental consent ranges from 12 to 17, and I was like, hmm,
Oh.
okay. Massachusetts has the lowest minimum marriage age with parental consent, 12-year-old for girls, 14 for boys. And I don't know. That really blows my mind, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Um,
That is surprising. That is shocking to me because I'm just like, aren't we? I mean, and I guess it is kind of some judgment because I want to say no judgment, but good Lord,
yeah,
at 12, we're not even grown at 23, 24, 25. We still are developing.
still, still. And I don't know. It just kind of, I don't know. It just really baffles me because I'm like, a 12-year-old can't even go get a job.
But you can get married and do matrimonial
Yeah, married things. I don't
without a
know.
say so, without
Because
what's
parental
best for me.
consent just means that your parents consented. Oh, that's a little strange to me. It's a lot of strange to me. And so I just think that it was to see that just so publicly stated, like it wasn't even a secret text, a little secret email that we had to go hack somebody's computer to get. You was all out on the floor with it. Talking about, I know people that got married at 12. Who got married at 12? And why do you know them?
And did you get married at 12? Do you
Right.
suggest it?
I don't know. That just really, I don't know.
I was just
It just shows
shocked.
where we live, and that you really need to be watching who's around your children, because there, as much as people will be not in support of that, there are several people that are.
Mhm.
There are several people that are. And it's like, I just think having children in this world is probably one of the scariest things.
Just don't know.
And, kind of linking into that, this weekend, prom season's in full effect. So, everybody
Oh, yeah.
everybody's
Oh, it
posting their
is.
dresses and
Okay,
stuff like
okay.
that. And so not one, like 3 or 4 of my Facebook friends had posted this post from this boy, and it was like, if your prom didn't go like this, then it's lit. It wasn't lit. And so the first picture was like the standing up outside prom picture or whatever. Then the second picture was him in the mirror in the bathroom, and this young lady is like on his shoulders back to the mirror, and you can tell like they're engaging in some sexual act.
Okay.
And then the third picture is her knocked out sleep, and him kind of like taking the picture behind her back. So like all you see is her back and her hair,
Mhm.
and then he's kind of like taking the picture, and people were sharing it and was like, my prom was lit, da 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 da, and I was mortified. I was like, first of all, this is child pornography. This is child pornography, and you're posting it, because anybody going to prom 9 times out of 10 is in high school. I remember when I was in high school, people were 14 going to prom.
Mhm.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And so I said that on one of the person's posts, and they were like, well, they're probably 18. I said, that's not good enough for me.
Mm-mm.
So then she starts like kind of trying to attack me. And I'm like, you're not going to make me feel weird about you posting child pornography. You're not going to make me feel weird about that.
Why
That's weird.
glorify that?
Why glorify that? I mean, I'm sure lots of people had sex on their prom night, like whatever, do what you do. But these are actual images. This is somebody's children.
Mhm. And that's going to exist for them online for the rest
Forever.
of their lives.
Your face is in the pictures. Like, and I was just like, "That's just so weird," and I was like, "That just goes to show how desensitized we are." Like, that you're sharing these images and because maybe they're bleeped out or because they seem on the more adult end of being a
Mhm,
child, like 17, 18,
mhm,
that don't really count. Yes, it does, because if this would have been a school shooting, we would have said, "Those are just children. Those are babies." That would have been our verbiage around those children. So now that we're talking about sex and it's something you can relate to, you're okay with it.
mm,
And I think that's why that kind of mindset is exactly how these predators kind of seep in and do
mm.
their thing because they're 17, 18, they're 16, they look grown, you know? I was just Facebook took it down cuz I was over there reporting it.
Oh,
I didn't care. I was over there reporting it.
I
But
I
I was just really shocked at the amount of people I saw, and all of them had children. All of them had little girls. So I was like, weird, weird, weird.
I'm just kinda over social media too, and it may be because I'm
Mhm.
tired. We discussed earlier, how life be life, and so I just generally don't have much time.
Right.
Um, but overall, like, just I'll get on social media just to kinda look, and then within a minute,
Let
off
me
of it.
hop off.
On Facebook for about a few seconds, like, I only really check on you and Joy. I check on a few other people, but other than that, I'm just kinda really not a Facebook person as it is already.
Mhm.
But more and more so, social media is just if it wasn't for kinda like the business aspect of it,
Yeah.
like, trying to show you who I am and my authenticity, hopefully that relating to you and allowing you to find a therapist that you can relate to.
Right.
Besides that being my intention, social media is no longer a source of entertainment for me. And maybe it's just the era that I'm in, the season that I'm in. But I see more so comparison, criticism, judgment, and the darker side of things.
Yeah. It definitely exposes you to things that if you don't have social media, you're not seeing.
Mhm.
I definitely try to make sure that my social media is curated to me. I get on TikTok, I want to see LGBT
I want to
stuff.
see the dances.
I wanna see dancing, I wanna see people cooking, makeup, hair, little funny story. But every blue moon, something will seep in, and I'm like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm."
Mm.
You know, Instagram's the same way, my feed, puppies, hair,
Oh
nails.
yeah,
Like, that's all I wanna
same.
see. But then every blue moon, I'll see things. So I really watch who I allow on my social media. Once I see that you're posting stuff I'm not really into, you got to go.
Mhm.
Because you just can't disrupt my peace because I enjoy social media. I enjoy laughing, I enjoy keeping up with people.
Mhm.
Um,
That's why
but it
she's our social media person. She be on it.
but it definitely it's definitely can become very dark for you and show you things that it's like how did this get here? And I think it really shows you who people are.
This is the world, and that's the question. That's what you say. You be like, "Oh, this is the real world. This is the world that we stay in."
Mhm.
Like, yeah. Besides that, maybe I didn't know, but now that I know, how do I even find acceptance with that? I ain't
Right.
saying peace. I'm saying acceptance that another person feels that way, and this is the world that we both share.
Right.
We're
And I
both
know
living
you.
in.
And I know that my niece goes to school with your children and my friend hangs out with you and like it's just mm-mm.
Are you making the laws
You're making laws, you're
for
protecting
me?
us. Right. Protecting, put that in quotes. So speaking of protecting,
Mhm.
next news story. Out of Kansas City, young black boy goes to pick up his siblings at the wrong house. I think it was like he's supposed to be like on 116th Terrace
Okay.
and he's on 116th Street. Some little mix up like that. Goes, I guess, knocks on the door. Owner sees him, shoots him through the glass, shoots him in the head, comes outside, shoots him again. They say it's a case of mistaken identity. I don't know. Like, who did you think was coming to your door for you to say mistaken identity?
You
Like,
couldn't
who were
even
you
open the
expecting?
door?
Like, who were you expecting? That I'm expecting, like, I'm going to shoot you on contact. Like, it's weird. And I don't know, like, what time of day it was or anything like that. It doesn't really matter. I don't think that you should just be shooting people. It comes across as, like, modern day lynching. Of course, they held the person, the homeowner, like, on a 24-hour
Mhm.
hold or whatever their rules are there. And then was released pending investigation. No charges brought as of yet. Granted, it just happened, I guess, like yesterday or day before or something like
Okay.
that. Um, or the story just broke then. But It's like, once again, this is the world that we're in.
I just can't imagine. So growing up with a single mom and having to kind of me and Hope just figured out our thing. We had to kind of do
Mhm.
some things on our own. And so some people would call us latchkey kids. Uh Children that kind of get home a little bit before mom is coming home after.
Right.
Kind of dinner is set up and so we kind of go in and do the rest or whatever
Right.
the case may be. And so there were many instances where I would be like, okay, well, I'm just going to walk up to the store right here and grab something.
Mhm.
Or I'm going to, in that innocence, not thinking about how people would see me or,
Right.
that's just not on my mind. I cannot imagine going down to get Hope. And I mix up details. You know me.
Mhm.
I mix up numbers, times, days. Like I'm just not a necessarily detail oriented person.
Right, right.
It takes me extra focus and concentration to do so. So if something else is going on and you giving me numbers, dates, etc., I'm just like, oh, hold on. I'm not a multitasker
Let me
like
write
that.
this down.
Yeah, that's just shocking. Like my mind, I'm still because I didn't know. I'm just hearing about it. So my mind is kind of wrapping around. Like I'm like, so you don't ask who's at the door, you don't open it, you don't even you look out the window and see a teenager,
You
and
don't call
that's
the police. If you're really concerned about your safety, you're locked in your house,
right.
you know?
This is somebody who just knocks and not a boom, boom, boom. I'm coming in there for you.
Mhm.
Like I just don't understand.
Right. And, I'm always all about the details, like, let me get the details on what's going on, but I don't know. Um, my first thought, even if somebody scary was outside my door, is not to start shooting through the door. That's just not my
Mm.
first line of action, even if you are not actively hurting me, trying to come into my house, that kind of thing, then I just, and the question has to be asked, had that been, 16-year-old white female, white male, would you have done the same thing? If you can honestly say you would have done the same thing to anybody at your door, then you just a little crazy. And we can chalk that up to something. But it's not even safe for me to send my child to go pick up their siblings. And it's like that's the world that we're in. And then you can just do these types of things and get away with them and just go on, having the national night out barbecue. Uh, throw it all away. Throw it all away. And so I guess it just goes, both of these
And
stories go into that big picture of this is the world that we're in, and this is what is against our children.
And it reminds me of the post. You had posted something about a kid who was outside playing, or maybe it was out at the store or in the apartment or whatever, and they had a toy gun.
Oh my God, them kids.
And knowing you, I knew your response was heartfelt. I knew it was like oh my God, baby, like hit a leaf. Come here, my baby, because
Right. Come here,
Be
my baby. Let me tell
right,
you something.
right, because that is the world that we stay in, but as a kid, you just have no idea. Even at 10 and 12, you have
Things are not
no
real.
idea.
Right. And them kids was outside all week last week, jumping on cars. That was the final whatever.
Mhm.
They were so unsupervised. They're out there. They were getting all these complaints, and the final culmination was that one of the young boys jumped on Joy's car, jumped on another black BMW, jumped on a Jeep, and jumped on a white Mercedes, and then ended up breaking his mom's car. He didn't damage any of our cars, but damaged his mom's car. And his mom came out, was yelling and screaming to the point that I was like, Joy, go outside and see who that is, because I could tell that they were talking to a child.
Mhm.
Go out, see who that is, or whatever. Make sure everything's safe. And it ended up being his mother, and she made him apologize to
Mhm.
us, and it was just like, well, your kids have been terrorizing the whole apartment complex all week. And it wasn't until your stuff got damaged that here you come. But it's like your children have been doing dangerous things. Like I've been waiting, for Haltom City Police to swoop in at any minute
Oh.
because these guns look real. And it's like you have a responsibility you have young black boys out there playing with things that look like Glocks. You know, And it's just like, you're not gonna watch your baby. You just gonna send your baby outside with that, knowing the repercussions
Or not knowing.
or not
Or
knowing.
not knowing. But still, and you know, now this is actually no judgment. And it is ultimately a reflection of our society, and we just have to figure out a better way to function in it, which is why we started with the question of, asking yourself, am I happy? This is what I want. But as a mother in America, you generally feel, and there is a narrative that you do have to do everything,
Mhm.
the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, uh, and whatever else, dentist appointment, doctor's appointment, clothing, just regular hygiene. That's not including the stuff for yourself.
Right.
We have people that are so tired, so distracted, so in so many different places. Can I even pay attention to where my kid is going? Do I
Right.
even have the mental and emotional energy to pay attention to that? Focus and be mindful there. Have those conversations there.
Mhm.
I can do it when there's a fire because the fire
It's
means that
it's
I can put the
smoking.
rest down.
Right.
But until then, it's just not highest on the list of priority
True.
because we're so tired.
Mhm.
And so I'm hoping as a whole, because, this is more of a free flowing episode than we have normally. Maybe it's not. It's probably about the same. But like we're encouraging people to say, my baby, we in it too.
Mhm.
We're trying to figure out the best way to get through life with the most energy and happiness that we can. We're asking ourselves that, and we want you all to ask yourself that as well.
Mhm.
Because we can't keep all of the plates spinning at the same time. Something falls, and God forbid it be one of our babies
Right.
or it be us.
Right.
And we know and we hear the stories of our family members who worked all of their lives and were tired and stressed and passed away due to, like,
Mhm.
that's how serious it is. We have to start asking ourselves what we want. And not everybody, I'm not saying everybody needs to have $1 million, but I mean, give me some
Would be
reparations, it'd be
nice.
cool. But sorry,
Okay, little
that's a whole different
reparation.
tangent. But what I am saying is that we all deserve it and we can all get it on whatever level that we're on,
Right.
wherever we are.
Right.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, this episode was a little somber, but I think that that's how it's going to be. I mean, we live in a climate where this week was kind of somber.
Hmm.
There was lots of bad news that came out this weekend, so it just kind of is what it is. And at least I would hope that people could listen to this episode, and if they didn't really know how they were feeling, or if they were having some, doubts or questions or whatever, that they could listen to this episode and say, at least I got some foundation on maybe where I could start
Right.
to help
Right.
myself be a better version of myself. There we go.
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
version of myself, to be more consistent, to be more intentional, whatever that may be. It's not going to fix everything. And, fixing things is usually a very long, strenuous process because change is work.
Hmm.
But at least somewhere where to start,
And,
somewhere to lay your feelings.
and giving yourself some grace in it. Like, I am running across and I'm giving myself grace. So that's why, on some days I just be like, well, I ain't doing it. And that's fine. That's fine for me. That's my version of grace. You got to figure out your version of grace because there's a lot of criticism and judgment that we put toward ourselves
Mm-hmm.
based off of what society deems is appropriate, normal, necessary, whatever word you want to put at the end of that sentence. And we need to think about that. For instance, I have friends who are having trouble in dating, and I'm like, okay, well, I understand saying, George, something must be wrong with me, and fine. Ask yourself, do the
Right.
self inventory. But you also got to look at the dating pool.
Right.
If 90% of it is tilapia and you don't like tilapia because it's a made up fish or it's fake or whatever the case may be, I don't
And
know.
you looking for swordfish.
Yeah. You got some searching to do.
Right.
It's gonna take a little minute. Or, if you're in a society where there is a lot of racism and prejudice, what does it mean for me to find happiness here? And if not, then okay.
Mhm.
Because some of your feelings are just your feelings. It is what it is. It's effed up. That's appropriate. I don't know if you're ever going to get to the point to where you're like, oh, I'm happy that this is here.
Right.
That's not what we're saying. But we're saying find your peace, your acceptance where you can, and have the audacity, the authenticity, and the power to go for what you want. Because that's my biggest thing is having the audacity to say, well, they did it, I can do it too.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay, well, they say this percentage of millionaires make it starting from zero. Well, guess what? Friend, I'm starting from zero.
I'm starting from zero, okay?
If they could do it, I can do it too.
That part.
Having that belief and that audacity. So, girl.
I'm glad we got that out. That was needed. Well, on to a little bit more of a positive note. Friend, who minding their business?
Who minding their business? Okay, so the sports player, he plays football and he is tall.
Not he tall. Friend.
Jalen Hurts
what he
becomes the highest paid player in the NFL history with a 5-year, $225 million contract extension. And so I'm assuming he decided what he wanted and he went for it. And so I'm asking for $225 million for this podcast. It's a hit. Y'all like it. Y'all know y'all like it. Somebody need to come pick this up. And the cost is $225, but I'll accept like at least just $20, actually.
You can settle out of court.
We'll talk about the rest later. But yeah, that's my person.
That's awesome for him.
And Sasha Colby from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
She won and fierce, honey, fierce. Does it for me. She won, well deserved. Unmatched level of professionalism. All I can say is catch me on the next season of RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm about to turn it out.
Okay, friend.
After I figure out what makes me happy.
That part. Maybe that'll make you happy.
I just want money.
That's the problem.
Because money is freedom.
Money is freedom in today's society.
I
guess it always has been. But,
I love what I do, but I also aspire to have the freedom to say, I don't have to do it. I just do it because I love it.
Right.
I enjoy it. So, those were my two people. I had to.
Well, look at you go.
Now, the first one, I ain't gonna lie, it was the first post on, with this little thing right here, so it was a cheat. But Social Kobe.
I was wondering, I was like,
I don't pay attention to sports.
So you know about Jalen Hurts?
Oh, you know him? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well deserved?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion, I don't know much about football, but seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, and
that's
I like the name Jalen.
Seems
it's
like
cute.
a nice guy. Yeah, he's a cute guy. I don't remember who he plays for. Does it say? Is it the Eagles?
I'm gonna say Eagles.
I want to say his uniform was green.
Yeah, it kind of giving me purple, but I know it's not purple. It's green.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that's who he plays for. But yeah, I know who that is. Every time I see him play, it looks like he does well. I don't know. No, I don't be knowing.
Okay, so
I'm gonna say that my person is, and this is like pulling it out the woodwork.
The
brat.
Okay.
So she's pregnant. Did I say that last week? I didn't say that last week.
No. Well, I said the brat because they had the gender reveal.
Oh.
So why did you say the brat?
Well, because her birthday was this week.
Oh, okay.
And so Shade Room had posted what's your favorite brat verse? And it was all these different things. And I was like, oh my God. And, I think that brat is somebody that kind of gets lost in translation sometimes. And so realizing she's been around and was iconic.
Very before her time.
Very before her time. Very before her time. And so when I was thinking about it, I was like, she really is just living her best life. She's pregnant. She's had some videos like the belly. She's starting to get the big rounded out belly. And it just seems like her and her wife are really happy. It seems like she's really happy with where she's at. I know that she had some problems before. I know she was in prison for maybe assault or something. But it seems like she's gotten out. She still looks really good. She's living in her truth.
Mhm.
And I think that's what sticks out for me, that she's living in her truth. It took all this time for her to be able to say who she was and, what she was and who she loves and all these things. And
Mhm.
now she's finally able to do that and she's happy.
And you know what I was thinking about? Because there are a lot of things that I could say yes to, but I say no to.
Mhm.
And I often go back because I'm very introverted. I am very kind of to myself in my own little bubble. Don't take me out of my bubble. I'm nervous. Um, and so I often ask myself, am I doing a disjustice to my family, my friends, the people around me, different things like that in those different instances.
Mhm.
And what I came to the conclusion most recently, as of this week, even though this week is just starting, is that no, I'm minding my business, which means I'm attuning to what I want and need to further my life in the
Mhm.
direction. And so, yes, I could probably go out and party, but is that what I want? Is that what I need? And is that getting me toward my goals?
Right.
And most of the time, depending on who the crowd is, what's going on, it's a no for me.
Mhm.
And that's okay. And there's a common thread between, some of the wonderful ladies that I love to at least think about their greatness and how they accomplished what they do. And all of them mind their business. All of them are kind of quiet till they coming out with something. All
Mhm.
of them are doing their own thing. You don't know what they do in their regular life.
Right.
You just know what they show you because the rest of it they're too busy working on, focusing on. Like Sierra, we kind of Sierra out,
Mhm.
but Sierra knows how to mind her business unlike any other and lives her best life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's what it is. It's taking all of that focus that you put on others and what they're doing, whether it's virtually or in person,
Mhm.
and saying, you know what, this is what it looks like for me to mind my business. That's our intention in even doing this podcast is saying it's okay for you to focus on you. It's okay for you to take up space. It's okay for you to show what you want to show and not show what you want to show. You even said on the last podcast, it's whatever I deem it. Where, because I said, where's the line? Is
Mm.
wherever I draw it.
Right.
It's giving, hopefully, people the permission to say, this is how I mind my business. This is where I draw the line. If you don't like it, then okay, that's fine with me.
Mhm.
And I'm just kind of watching the people now
Right.
and how they move, and they're really quiet. You don't know much about them.
Mhm. I think that sometimes that's the best way to be.
That's the best way to be. So.
But yeah. So, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
I liked it. So, we'll definitely be getting this out,
Mhm,
and
mhm. Like, comment, share.
like, comment, share, leave comments. That's one of the biggest things for us is leave comments, engage so that we can engage with you. If you have topic ideas, that kind of thing, let us know because we definitely want to talk about what you want us to talk about.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
definitely, even if you don't want to leave it in the comics, I understand some things are sensitive. Mind Your Business Podcast, the number one at gmail.com.
.com.
So, Mind Your Business Podcast one at gmail.com. You can send it there. I kind of look at it every day or other day. Um,
She does.
yeah, it's linked in with my stuff. So if you don't want to leave it, if it's something that's kind of personal, we'll never out your business. We'll never use your name, anything like that. But we can talk around that topic. And so,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, y'all. If no one tells you today, you are loved, you are worthy, you are special, you are kind, you are everything that you need to be and everything
Mm-hmm.
you want to be in this next season. You just got to decide. And guess what? You have the power to do that. All of that is on you, and you can do it. We're here to help. We're behind you, your biggest cheerleaders, even though our knees may be a little bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
All right. See y'all later.